And we are back. Welcome to night 2 of the Champions League quarterfinals. And honestly, what an unbelievable night of action we saw last night. 2 unbelievable games, end-to-end action, where in the end, despite some incredible attacking play, it was actually the defences that shone the most, in my opinion. Special shout out to Ruben Diaz for Manchester City. I thought he was their man of the match, and he really kept buying out in that first and second half. And then Manchester City really ramped it up in that second half to go 3-0 ahead against Bayern in that game. In the other fixture, I have to say I was a little bit disappointed with Benfica. I really thought they would get the job done yesterday. But as I just said, the defences reigned supreme, and it was Inter Milan's defence that really did a number on those Benfica attackers last night. And I have to say, even though they did score a perfectly fine goal anyway, I thought the penalty that Inter Milan were awarded to go 2-0 up was very, very harsh. It did seem to come off João Mario's head before his hand, so a bit harsher a decision from the English officials as well. But that all but wraps up that tie as well, and I really think that after last night's games, it's very hard to see any other outcome next week than Manchester City and Inter Milan progressing to the semi-finals. However, we do have 2 more games for you this evening, and of course this video is my predictions for those 2 games. Before we get into it, as always, if you are enjoying this series, please do consider dropping a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. We're doing predictions every single day this week, and we will be back tomorrow with Europa League and Europa Conference predictions. But now, let's get into tonight's 2 games. And we start off with AC Milan and Napoli, 2 sides that are on very, very contrasting forms at the moment. AC Milan have only won 1 of their last 5 games. Napoli have only lost 1 of their last 5 games. However, their respective 1 game is against each other, where AC Milan won 4-0 away at Napoli just 2 weeks ago. So throws a bit of a spanner in the works into the prediction for this game, because it'd be very easy for me to sit here and say Napoli are the runaway leaders of Serie A, they're playing fantastic football, they'll win, it doesn't matter. But when you think that AC Milan have just won 4-0 in Naples just 2 weeks ago, it really makes you think that surely AC Milan are now the favourites going into this game, especially when you consider the fact that visitor Osimhen, Napoli's top scorer and arguably star player, obviously they do still have Kvaratskhelia, but arguably their star player in Victor Osimhen, is injured for tonight's game as well. So with all those things considered, I am going to favour the Milan club tonight, and they obviously have a lot more European pedigree on their side as well. I'm only going to go for 2-1. I do think that all 3 possibilities are available for this one. I think Napoli are more than capable of getting a draw or a win. Even without Osimhen, they still have a lot of quality players available to them. But I just think that slight mental side of it will come into it after Milan's win a couple of weeks ago. And I'm very interested to see with the way this one turns out. But for now, I'm just edging it towards AC Milan. As for the other game, we have a side that can't stop scoring against a side that cannot score to save its life. And I really don't think there's too much to say about this one. I'm just going to show the score straight away. I'm going to go for 3-0 to Real Madrid. Now, I am aware that Real Madrid did lose at the weekend. They lost 3-2 at home to Villarreal, which was a slight shock considering they'd won their previous 2 games 6-0 against Valladolid and 4-0 away at Barcelona of all teams. And that was a bit of a shock result, but when you look at their opponents, who haven't scored a single goal in their last 3, didn't even score away to Wolves at the weekend, with the greatest of respect to Wolves, you would expect Chelsea to do a little bit better in a fixture like that. I just don't see them putting a scratch on Real Madrid tonight. They are usually defensively sound. Like I said, they did ship 3 goals against Villarreal at the weekend, but they're normally defensively solid, Real Madrid, and their attacking play over the last few weeks has been absolutely top-notch, and I just don't see Chelsea having enough defensively to cope with the likes of Vinicius and Benzema and Modric, Valverde, Rodrigo, etc, etc, etc. Don't get me wrong, Chelsea are capable of pulling off a shock tonight. They are more than capable of winning this tie with the players they have available to them, but Frank Lampard's only been in charge for a week. I just don't see it happening, and I really think Real Madrid could put a serious hole in Chelsea this evening. This could be easily more than 3-0 if Real Madrid play to their absolute potential and Chelsea play the way that they have played over the last 3 weeks. But I'm going to go for 3-0. And of course, I've gone for 2-1 in the earlier game. So before we go, as always, let me know down in the comment section your thoughts on my predictions, as well as your thoughts for tonight's games, as well as your thoughts on last night's games as well. That unbelievable performance from Manchester City does deserve some sort of comment as well. Thank you very much for watching today's video, as always, and I will be back tomorrow morning with my Europa League and Europa Conference predictions. Thank you very much for watching once again.